Hello my loves. I'm not really like a New Year's resolutions person, right? I've tried over the years, never really worked out for me. I was thinking more about reading, specifically because, you know, if you use any reading tracking app, you set goals for the year, right? Of what you want to try and read, how many books you want to try and read, or how many pages you want to try and read. I've picked a selection of books I want to try and specifically read this year. That didn't work out so well for me last year, but we'll see. But there's some things that I want to change about my reading, some intentions I want to set for this year of 2025, because so far we are 2 weeks in and I have read basically nothing. If you follow me on Goodreads, which if you don't, you should, but if you do follow me on Goodreads, you will see that for the past 2-3 weeks I have been rotating between starting various books and then just leaving them and not finishing them. I think I've probably got 4 or 5 currently readings on Goodreads and I'm not really actively reading most of them. So yeah, I just want to like think a little bit more about what I'm reading and how I'm reading, holding myself accountable basically by telling all of you guys. We'll see in a year if I've stuck to this. No, going with, you need to believe your manifestations for them to work. I'm gonna do all of these things. These are intentions, affirmations, whatever. These are my reading affirmations for 2025. Firstly, I will listen to more audiobooks. I always thought I wasn't really an audiobook person. I can't concentrate, my mind wanders, I get annoyed with the voice sometimes. I didn't think they were for me. But honestly, the only way I have been reading in the past 2 weeks really and actually sticking to it has been with an audiobook. And it's been a really good way for me to still read while feeling more like low energy in terms of concentration. Thought of sitting down and concentrating and not moving for however long on a book, for whatever reason I just can't do at the moment. It's just one of those times where my concentration is not there, I'm very restless, and it's just the thought of doing it makes me then not do it, you know? This is something I've really struggled with in the past, where if I don't have the mental capacity to physically with my eyes read, I just don't read. And this feels like a nice lower energy way for me, or like less taxing way for me to still read. It's only been a couple of weeks. It's only one book that I've been listening to. I'm listening to The Marriage Portrait, in case you're wondering, and really enjoying it so far. I'm really not that far in, but enjoying it so far. I think there's certain things that I can listen to as audiobooks better than others. Like, I don't think I'd be able to listen to like an epic fantasy or something. I would just get really confused and lost. But something like this is fine, where it's not too like, there's loads of place names you need to remember, or like world building and stuff you need to remember. Fine. Yeah, I haven't been doing it for too long. It might just be that I'm enjoying this particular audiobook, but that is one thing I would like to do more this year, is listen to more audiobooks and read more that way, because I think it will help me read more and enjoy what I'm reading without feeling like I'm just forcing myself to when maybe I don't really want to. Secondly, completely opposite, I will DNF books without mercy. If you did watch my tier ranking, you will see that we did have, especially, well, yeah, in the second half of the year, a few DNFs. There'd been none in the first half, there was none last year either. So I'm getting there with starting to DNF books, but I was very much always one of those people that was like, I need to finish it, I need the completion, I can't just stop. I've come to learn and accept and realize in the past 6 months, there's literally no fucking point doing that. If you're not enjoying something, if I'm not enjoying something, why am I forcing myself to spend however many hours of my life reading it just for the sake of being able to say I finished it? If I already know I'm not going to enjoy it, why force myself to do that, you know? I'm definitely feeling more comfortable DNFing books now, and I want to stick to that. I want my reading this year to be for enjoyment, not for completion. I want to focus more on reading things that I actually enjoy and finishing those and spending more time with those, rather than pushing through something either in the hopes that it'll get better knowing that it won't, or just so I can say that I've read it. So that is something I'm gonna stick to. I've definitely, like I said, got better at it, but I want to stick to that I can just put a book down at any time I want. Anytime. It doesn't need to be finished. That's fine. Number 3, I will be more mindful of my spending, and specifically my spending on books. I mean, generally I need to be more mindful of spending anyway, but on books specifically. I think having an online space for readers and people who love books is wonderful and great for the most part, but I do think, especially when I'm scrolling through TikTok, it does sometimes very much lean into that overconsumption side of things. A slight tangent, but I've been wanting to complain about this for ages. I am beyond done with the amount of fucking ads I see, or like commissioned videos for a reading light and a Kindle page turner and a Kindle holder. It's like every other video about books that I get on my For You page is those things. I'm just fed up of so much content being, you need to buy this thing, or like, these books, you specifically need to buy these books because they're on sale on TikTok Shop at the moment, when actually they're a pretty normal price compared to where you can get them from other places, you know? As when I spoke about this before, I'll say the same thing. I'm not blaming any specific creators. I'm not saying that like specific people are the problem, because everyone does it. I've posted many hauls and will probably post more. I think it's very easy to then, if that's what you're watching a lot, to think, oh, I need to buy all of these things. And look, I'm the kind of person that has very little impulse control when it comes to spending money. Again, it's something I have got better at, but I definitely did at points last year fall into just buying books for the sake of buying them. They weren't even necessarily books I particularly wanted, I just wanted to buy more books. So I want to be more mindful of that. I also, within that, want to be mindful of not just buying books because they're cheap at the moment, because I, every single month, will buy at least a few of the 99p deals, ebooks. A lot of the time they're books I don't really care about that much or want, but I get them just because they're 99p. And you might say like, well, Nikki, that only 99p, that's not that much money. And yes, I would agree. However, if you're buying like 4 or 5 books like that, that's like what, a fiver, a little bit less. Again, doesn't seem like that much money, but one, we are in a cost of living crisis, so every £5 matters. 2, I will do that of books that I don't really care about, but then I'll go and look at a book I really want and have wanted for a long time and want to buy, and we'll see the ebook is like £7.99 and I'm like, I'm not paying that much, I'm not buying that. Yeah, every month I buy like 5 or 6 books that I don't really care about for a similar price. It's more like that, just being like more purposeful in what I'm buying and buying books that I actually want to read, and not just because they're cheap. My main mantra this year is reading is for enjoyment, not for I should have thought of a mantra before I started that sentence. My mantra is I want to read for enjoyment, not for the sake of it. That's what I said earlier, right? Buying books that I probably might not enjoy that much or don't really care about versus, you know, leaving those 5 and spending that same money on one that I genuinely will really enjoy, that seems to make more sense to me. Not necessarily, I mean, I should spend less, but not even necessarily spending less, just paying more attention to what I'm spending my money on when it comes to reading, you know, and not just falling into that thing of everyone's buying all these things, so I must buy them too. And then finally, kind of leading on from that actually, I will use the library more. I don't really know why I fell out of using the library, because I have always loved, as a physical environment, libraries. I used to spend so much of my time at my local library when I was like a student, mainly to study, but also I would get books out and read too. I mean, my local library when I was at college was kind of shit, but it was still nice. Still a nice environment, and they still had a lot, so I did make use of them a lot, and then I just kind of stopped for whatever reason. I don't really know why. My local library now is also quite small. However, with that access you can get to other libraries via things like Libby, and I've realized that Overdrive is not a thing anymore, but like that as well. It just makes it so much easier to borrow library books, specifically digitally. Also, because I have a Kobo now and Overdrive is just a built-in feature in it, it's so much easier for me to borrow library books digitally. I've set it all up and everything. I've signed up, got my library card in there, got all the books, and I just haven't used it at all. I don't even think to use it, honestly, because I'm just not used to doing it. I would like to do that more. It saves money, but also support libraries, because libraries are amazing. This is a really silly reason for wanting to do it. But it just feels slightly more exciting. Like, you put hold on it and then you get the little notification that it's available for you now. I think one of my concerns with library books is I'm very much a mood reader, so if I put a hold on something and then it becomes available and I'm not in the mood for it anymore, am I gonna force myself to read it? But on the other hand, I think knowing I only have a set amount of time to read a book might actually help me read it. I will try it out because it is so much easier to sort of do that now with a Kobo. I do walk past one of my local libraries once a week now on my way to work, so there's just opportunities there, you know. There's so many opportunities, and I want to make use of that more, not just for monetary reasons, but just because I think libraries are wonderful and we should all definitely use them more if we can. Those are my intentions, my manifestations for the year. I am willing them into existence. I'm really, really hoping that I will stick to them. No, again, you need to believe in manifestations. I'm hoping that will just make my experience of reading more enjoyable this year and help me to actually like remember that, again, reading is for enjoyment, not just doing it for the sake of it. I would be really interested to hear your guys' manifestations and intentions for the year when it comes to reading. If you don't have any, you don't have to set some, but maybe do. No, but for real, you don't have to, but if, you know, you sort of realize there are things maybe you do want to do more of or do less of, then, you know, I'd be really interested to know. Or if you did actually set like any proper goals. I did set my reading goal for the year. I don't remember what I set it as, maybe 50 books, I can't remember. Yeah, if you set things like that, let me know. Let's all help and motivate each other to stick to those and keep our goals, because I think when you share them, when you talk about them, and, you know, you sort of hear other people, you're more motivated to stick to it. For all of your goals, aspirations, hopes, dreams, manifestations, in the comments of what you want to get out of 2025 in terms of reading. That is all from me today though, so I hope wherever you are, you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.